Okay. Yeah, nice. It's live streaming on YouTube. Sweet. And Facebook. Right. And then this is the thing I always forget to do, but I'm just going to quickly share the live stream on Facebook. You guys are welcome to too.
Don't post it on Twitter.
Yeah, don't post it on Twitter. No, just don't post the Zoom link. You can post the live streaming link. There we go. Share. Oh. Right, give us 1 second, guys, if you're watching. We're just getting set up. Here we go. Share. Cool. Right. Well, guys, welcome to our, I don't know what number this is. We've had a few of these chats, but it's good to have a few of you back again, familiar faces. I thought it'd be cool. I mean, I think we're going to have some more people joining throughout the hour or so that we'll be on, but I thought we could start off. We could just go around and share our name and where we're calling in from. Do you want to start, Joel?
Yeah, I'm Joel. I'm from Liverpool. It's currently nice. Nearly 20 past 8. Although actually, I'm from a place called the Wirral Peninsula, which is next door to Liverpool.
Nice. And then should we do a little one-word check-in as well? What's one word that summarizes how you're feeling right now?
I guess a little bit motivated.
A little bit motivated. That's cool, man.
Feel like I'm getting my motivation back slowly.
Yeah. Cool. How about you, Letitia? Where are you calling in from?
So I'm calling in from Southern California. And right now I'm feeling re-energized. So it's a big 180 from last time. I think my describing word was stressed. So now I'm a little bit re-energized. So
awesome. That's great to hear. That's really nice. I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster time for all of us. So
definitely.
It's good that you're at a peak right now. I think these calls as well have been really helpful in I don't know, I guess just keeping everyone a bit sane or just feeling connected to around the world. So that's good. Right, shall we carry on? Phoebe?
Hello, Phoebe. I'm from New Zealand, but I live in Norway, so that's where I am now. And today I would describe myself just okay. That's how I'm going to say today.
Okay.
Steady, okay.
Nice, that's good. Okay is good. I think any emotion's good right now. Tim, where are you calling in from?
Hey, yeah, I'm calling in from Los Angeles. I just moved here. I would say my one word to describe how I'm feeling is probably confused. Sometimes I want to feel, I try to feel optimistic a lot, but then, in this craziness going on, you get kind of like the terrified and the, I don't know. There's a lot of different emotions, so confused.
Yeah, that's again an emotion I've been feeling a lot of over the last few weeks, so I'm with you on that, man.
Of course.
Cool. Jesse, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, dialing in from San Francisco, and right now feeling encouraged, but have been all over the map in the past month, and times when things seem really, really heavy, and there's just so much uncertainty about the future, not only for me and my immediate family, but also for the world in general. And is this going to be a time when we kind of lean in and kind of really band together and make the world a better place? Or is it going to accelerate some of the negative trends that were already happening, like, you know, the division of the rich and the poor and the wealth gap and things like that? And so wrestling with a lot of heavy stuff, but right now feeling encouraged, in part because I can be part of like a group like this and, you know, get to be inspired by people like you, Louis, who are like being a force for good in the world. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. And Maddie, where are you calling in from, Maddie?
I am from Cali, and just knowing that I'm on live stream with my favorite YouTuber right now is cool.
That's great to hear.
I have watched you for years straight. Watching you travel is
that's
awesome.
amazing. Oh, cool. And how are you feeling right now? What's one word that summarizes how you're feeling right now?
Well, to say this, it's crazy that we're on quarantine, but I hope it ends soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually leads me on to the kind of topic I thought would be really cool to talk about today, is like, when this period of time does come to an end, I guess the question is, what do we want to imagine could be the new normal of our lives and the global way that we do things? I think there's this really interesting thing we're experiencing now where it's almost like the whole planet's hit a pause button and kind of hitting a bit of a reset button in the way that we even think about how is this going to work right now and moving forward. So the topic for today that I thought would be really cool to chat around would be, like what can we imagine the new normal looking like? Before we jump into that, I'd love to know where Liam's calling in from. Where are you calling in from, Liam? I think your audio says it's still connecting. Oh, we can wait. We can wait. Yeah, so I think a lot of people over the last few weeks, when we've been doing these check-ins, have felt this feeling of confusion over what we're going through, but also this feeling of hopefulness of like, there could be something, despite a lot of the hardship and suffering that a lot of people are feeling around the planet right now, there could be something the other side of this that brings more hope to everybody. So on that thought, I guess we could just jump into some of these questions I've got down here. So the first question I'd love to ask everyone, and we can kind of just ping around and whoever wants to answer, but do you feel like the way that we come out of this situation is in or out of your control? Answer, but do you feel like... Does anyone want to jump in? Does anyone feel in control right now?
I wouldn't say in control of when we get out of it, but I feel we are in control of what we do when we get out of it. That makes sense. It's weird to be out of control of just to start things, but we do have the time now to think about exactly how we want to do it when we get back to, you know, maybe not normal, get back to not exactly what we were doing, but we get to choose how we start doing things, and what we do and where we do it and how we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not in a way, like I see it as, we're not going to come back to the normality we knew before, but it's like redesigning what our normal is going to become, like a new normal.
For sure.
And yeah, no, I agree. I think there is some level of control, I feel, as well. Also, I didn't really do my one-word check-in. My one-word check-in. Also, I'm Louis, by the way, that people don't know, and I'm calling from Venice Beach in California. But my one-word check-in for today, and it's a weird one because I don't normally feel this, but I'm feeling like a weird level of anxiety that I've never experienced in my life before. And it's not a conscious thing where I'm like worrying, like mentally worrying. It's more this underlying, like I feel this just fluttering in my chest and it just feels like I'm always got this jittery, almost a little bit like I'm buzzing on caffeine. It feels like I've just drunk too much coffee, but I'm not. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's like sometimes I just have to stop in the day and just take a few deep breaths, because there's something that's probably subconsciously just making me feel anxious about the situation. I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that, but it's weird for me because I've never been somebody that has any kind of anxiety. So I just thought I'd be honest and share where I'm at. Sean, where are you calling in from, bro? It's been a long time.
Has indeed. I don't know any context whatsoever of what this is, but I saw the topic and I thought I need to jump in. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
There's a great irony in which when I joined, you were asking who feels in control, and I wasn't in control of my computer because the audio was working.
Funny.
So I'm calling from just north of London in a little town called Corby. And yeah, the reason I jumped in is I feel perhaps paradoxically more in control of my life than ever before right now. And I feel like that's an unusual slant. So I thought I'd jump in with no context and see what this is about. So here we are.
Yeah, no, that's good. Man, I'd love you to elaborate more. Like, in what ways do you feel more in control right now?
So briefest bit of context ever, right? I run a marketing agency business, so a service-based business in Wales. So I typically live in Wales, but now, as everybody is, I'm back home in my parents' house. And as a business owner, my life revolves around the business in one way, shape, or form. Same with you with the content, right? It consumes everything in one way or another. So being back at home means that, for example, I don't have the office to go into at 9 a.m. So I've kind of set up a bit of an office in the corner of my bedroom. But with the freedom of without the structure of thinking, okay, I need to be in the office for 9 or 10, I've done something I've never done before in my life, which is started waking up at 6 a.m., right? And that means that my work's done by 2 p.m. With no meetings, it means I'm way more productive. With no gym where there's lots of people looking, it means I'm way more open to kind of experiment with fitness. With no kind of breakfast, lunch, dinner structure, I've tried like intermittent fasting to be more productive, managing to sneak more calories in to grow. I've taken this opportunity. There's a concept called anti-fragility, where, so there's fragileness, right? Something's fragile, it breaks under pressure. There's then resilience, which is kind of the middle ground where you try and come out of this situation as whole, as complete a person as you were when you went in. And then there's taking the situation to try and not only not break, but actually be better. Now, the first 2 weeks of this, I was having a terrible time, as every business owner was, right? Contracts were going to the wall, things were very scary, but I kind of turned a corner a few weeks ago where I decided, actually, this is probably going to be the only opportunity in my life where I'm going to be able to control all of the variables. And so I'm just having fun with it, seeing where I can go.
I love that, man. Yeah, it's almost like an experiment, isn't it? You can really like play with elements of your life and your routine. And yeah, I get that, man. I kind of feel like a similar, like I've been experimenting a little bit with when does it suit me best to try and get slots of work in? What healthy routines can I weave into my day to help me feel sane and like I'm accomplishing something? But yeah, I love that, man. Yeah. Has anyone got anything else to add, like about feeling in or out of control right now? Joe?
Yeah. So the last 3 weeks, you may know that I've not been feeling great. But like since, I think today's kind of, for me, has felt like a bit of a turning point. Like, you know, I can't go and see people, and that's what's been bringing me down a lot. And I'm quite a sociable person. Like that's always been my like thing. Like, so, you know, to not be able to go and see people, and that has been really challenging. So in that sense, I've not felt like in control of everything. But then yesterday, I think it was, I got a new bike, which I was kind of only a cheap one though.
Yeah.
But it does the job, and like I just went on my first bike ride today, so I feel quite accomplished.
That's cool, man.
Housework and like tidying up my flat, and I even made a little video today on my bike, and just using my phone. So I feel like quite, I wouldn't say I'm in control yet, but I feel like I'm on that path to like get back in that routine of having like things to do. Like, because before all this, I was just going off out and making videos like left, right, and center, and you know, going out on trains and stuff like that. But then that all stopped.
Yeah. It's a simple thing sometimes, isn't it? That just give us some structure or enjoyment. There's something really interesting I thought I'd add. My girlfriend Raya talked to me about this study that she heard about where when you're limited with your options, actually that can bring more happiness. And in a society where we're constantly given a million options of what we can do, and often instant like gratification or instant anything we want, it's actually weirdly refreshing having like limited options. And I wonder whether there's something in that right now with having limited options of, you know, where we can go, who we can see, what we can buy. Maybe there's something in that that's good in a way, or a silver lining at least. How are you feeling, Letitia, with control or no control?
Yeah, so I've been kind of like what Sean was saying, just kind of letting go of the things that I can't control. You know, I can only do so much, and I've been enjoying setting up a routine for myself. You know, as many of you may recall, I'm a teacher, so it was in the beginning, it was very stressful getting into this online teaching and just being able to connect with my students. And now that we're, you know, a month in, it's kind of like, it's a lot easier. We've come into this routine. I end up like setting my lessons Monday through Thursday, and then I give myself a 3-day weekend. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it, of having that freedom to kind of just set my own schedule. And yeah, just like I said, just letting go of things that I can't control. I still try to wake up around the same time that I always did, just because I feel like I can be more productive throughout my day when I wake up early. So, but you know, if I do have a late night, I do allow myself, okay, well, I'm going to sleep in for another hour just because I can do that. Whereas obviously when I was working at school, I had to be there at a given time. I had to be there at 7:30. So it's kind of, it's nice to have that liberty, that freedom to make your own schedule and to kind of like, you know, work things out. So that's why my word of choice today was I'm feeling re-energized. So yeah,
That's great.
That's where I'm at.
We've got a couple new people joined. I'd love to hear where people are calling in from. Liam, where are you calling in from?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm from North Wales in Bala. It's a small town in Wales, and I think I've been able to embrace the small community that I live in, and it's been nice to sort of see the whole community working together to make everybody's life a little bit easier. Yeah. It's been a rough few weeks because I recently finished my high school as a year 11 student, so I didn't have to do any of my exams.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they just ended it, didn't they? They just ended year 11.
Yeah, it was a difficult time because there was a lot of uncertainty as what the future has for me, but I've been trying to make myself trying to make my time and structure them properly so I can make as much things as I can and plan my future out.
Yeah. So how has it affected your future? Do you have to do the exams like at the end of the year or next year? Like, have they said anything yet?
There's a bit. We haven't had a certain answer. To be fair, I think it's predicted grades or mock exams.
Okay.
So there's probably going to be some controversy there because it might be unfair for some students.
Are you doing any coursework or work from home at the moment, or any like online like classes or anything, or is it just
they provide us with work, but they've said that we don't have to do them because we're technically not doing the exams.
Wow.
So, yeah,
How
it's
crazy.
all a bit weird,
Yeah, I bet, man. Well,
but it's nice
good
to. It's nice to make do with what you've got and embrace the whole town that you live in. And I've been a lot closer to some of my friends, and it's made me realize that the importance of quality instead of quantity of people. And I've spent a lot more time with my family, going out for bike rides for my family, and it's just been amazing, really. That's some of the positives, but then thoughts do come out to everybody that suffered, and yeah.
Yeah. It's good to hear where you're at, man. It's good that you're hanging in there.
Yeah.
I guess this experience is kind of different for all of us, depending on what stage of life we're in.
Yeah.
And Anthony, how you doing, man?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Where are you calling in from?
I'm actually in South Carolina right now.
Cool, man.
Cool. Yeah. It's been a while.
It has. It's been a while.
A few years, I think.
It's good to see your face.
Yeah, you as well. Nice to see you're still doing stuff. I'm taking a little break from Surfing the Nations right now. We kind of
I think last time I spoke to you, were in Sri Lanka, maybe.
Yeah. I was living full time out there 2.5 years and just doing life in a small fishing village, teaching English, teaching swim and surf lessons to local village kids out there, and just serving the community any way that we could. What we do at Surfing the Nations. So yeah, back on the mainland, got married, back in Hawaii.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. So yeah, just kind of waiting this thing out in South Carolina right now before we head back to Hawaii.
Yeah. What's your one word that summarizes how you're feeling right now?
I would probably say, man, transition. I think it's definitely a season of transition for me, just with where I'm at in work and being here in a place I'm not used to, South Carolina, and really trying to understand the dynamic of life here. It's something that my wife and I have walked through. Is I'm from California on the West Coast, and she's from the East Coast, so it's fun and interesting to see how our cultures kind of mesh together to make one family.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from you, man. We're just asking a few questions about what would the new future look like? What would the new normal look like after this comes through? I'd just quickly love to check in with Matt. Where are you calling in from, Matt?
Oh, hey guys. Yeah, just over in London, and I just saw this on stories. So thanks so much for the invitation, Louise. It's fantastic.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. How are you feeling? What's one word that summarizes how you're feeling in this crazy time?
Yeah. So I'm a vicar in the Church of England, and I think I see opportunity. I see also challenge, because we're part of the community. We see how this is affecting lots of different people in different ways. We've got a lot of people in the NHS as well. So yeah, opportunity, but also challenge. There's some fear out there as well, but there's some excitement as well. So.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from you, man. We've got people from all over the world now, so it's good to just hear from whoever's. I don't know. It's just an interesting time to hear from how we're all coping and what emotions are rising to the surface. 1 second. The next question I had, which I'd love to pose to everyone, is, and this is kind of a fun exercise, but in terms of a lot of us, obviously, we can't imagine what the future is going to look like fully, or none of us know anyway. There's been a lot of predictions, but if we had a magic mirror that could look into the future and see how things are kind of going to be like as we come out of this time, what would you most want to ask about? Like, what would you ask the mirror like about elements of what the future looks like? Just a fun question. Any thoughts?
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
I would like to know, are we going to be more united or more divided? I sure hope more united. And I see a lot of efforts that are working to unite people. I think that, we're about to experience globally a level of economic hardship that we haven't seen maybe since the Great Depression here in the US. For us, that was the worst in the recent history. Who knows, maybe worse. And so I would like to think at a time of economic hardship, especially, that people pull together and that we see an increase in empathy. I also see forces at work that will, seem to want to continue to divide us and continue to create opportunities for the wealthy to become wealthier and the poor to become poorer. So I would love to have insight into that. And then, just, I think in the meantime, not knowing that, I try to stay focused on, trying to be somebody who's helping to unite and try to help to increase the level of empathy that people feel in the world right now.
Yeah. And this actually leads back to the initial question I asked. How much in this specific thing, how much control do you think we have to define whether we come out of this more united or divided?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, to just back up a little bit for that first question, the things that are really, the mantra that I've been using right now to really get me through is gratitude, surrender, and focus. So I try to spend a lot of times being grateful for the things that are good in my life. And I've got health and safety. I've got my family together under one roof, and we're all living together in a lot of joy. Actually, there's essentially zero conflict, and we're kind of working together as we figure out our new normal. I live in a state of surrender because there is so much that I cannot control right now, so much that's outside of my control. But then I manage that by trying to really listen to where I'm led, like literally on a daily basis, and try to stay focused on what is it that I can do today, because how I can spend my time is something that I do have control over. So I try to, just really stay focused. And I've been finding that I've been just naturally waking up. I'm usually an early riser, but I've been naturally just waking up so much earlier, like 4:30, 5 o'clock, just out of bed and just kind of ready to get going, because I feel like I feel purpose, but I also feel, Louis, a little bit what you described earlier. There's like I can totally relate that sort of fluttery kind of feeling. There's like this base level of anxiety, which in the good moments feels motivating. In the challenging moments kind of feels a little exhausting. So I think that we can only, we all have different levels of influence, right? And it's just a matter of choosing to use our influence in positive ways. And I think whether or not that means that you're able to impact millions or thousands or even tens or ones of people, I think it's all about, applying using your influence to try to bring people together and try to set an example of what it looks like to be united and to have empathy and to be kind.
Yeah, no, that's such a good question about the united and divided thing. That's going to be a massive question, isn't it, really, to see how we come out the other side. Has anyone got any other interesting questions they would ask a Magic Mirror?
So I didn't until Jesse just said what he said, and it actually sparked something in me, which is that in the first few weeks of this, I deleted Twitter from my phone. I've got it back now, but I just had this feeling that with this thing that was going to continue for so many months, having second by second news updates about it, which was, I've never had what I would clinically call anxiety, but there was this new feeling inside of me that I think was fairly close to what you just described and fairly close to what Google would call anxiety, right? Is the question I would ask is almost what of these hundreds of headlines we see a day is actually going to matter, right? Because there is so much noise in amongst the signal. I think of, it's a niche example, but in the UK this week, the Office of Budget Responsibility predicted that the economy in this quarter will shrink by like 35%, right? So that's terrifying news for everybody.
Wow.
But then you've got another article from the World Economic Forum, and their experts are predicting that it will only get as bad as a 7% fall globally. So you've got all of these contradictory feelings, you've got all of these contradictory headlines compounding on top of each other for worry. And I would quite like to use Jesse's word, just surrender to caring about the headlines, look into the mirror, say, give me the 5 headlines that are actually going to define this moment, and then block the rest out, because I don't think half of it really is going to define how we come out of this.
Yeah, that's so true, man. I went through the same thing. I remember like a week in, I went down a spiral on conspiracy theories, and I was up all night. And at the end of it, I was just angry. I was like, you know, firstly, I don't buy into a lot of this, but also how is it helping anyone? And I think it's birthed out fear of having to grapple onto some understanding of what's going on, even though maybe there is no fully grasping what's happening. And in that fear and panic, there's almost this, in my opinion, this letting go of intelligence and I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like it feels like, yeah. And also, I mean, I don't think this is just from this period, but I think for years now, we've been dealing with a lot of like distrust of the media and misinformation and all this kind of stuff. And it's just right now, like, I don't know, there just seems to be, it doesn't seem to be serving anyone just to be scrolling the headlines every day. Like you said, man, like I agree. I had to try and really be disciplined to not be reading all the latest headlines.
I heard an interesting explanation as to why conspiracy theories are so prevalent at times such as this. And I'm going to butcher this, but I'll try and explain it in the way I understood, which is essentially in any worrying period of life, whether you're going to, let's say your doctor's just phoned you and he says, Louis, I need you to come in today. I can't tell you what, but I need to talk to you, right? We will look for meaning and patterns and signals which aren't there to try and explain our reality, to try and interpret our reality, right? And it's far easier to say 5G masts are causing this and your government's against you. It's far easier that's a reason that you can reconcile that. It's far easier to comprehend that when looking for meaning than on the other side of the planet, a virus kind of mutated ever so slightly, which means we don't have immunity to it. And now it's wiping through economies and people, do you know what I mean? People look for meaning far sooner than they do fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Like, I've seen a lot of people talking about the whole like 5G situation and saying that 5G has caused coronavirus and that, you know, like the governments are taking over and stuff, but the only way to control the virus is to control the people and how they move in that sense. And, you know, I've suffered with so many things like in my life, as well as, you know, I've had septicemia and had loads of other things like heart operations and stuff like that. So for me, at the beginning of all this, it seemed so big and so like, wow, how am I going to do this on my own kind of thing? Because, you know, like I said before, I'm on my own, so that really does suck a lot. But, you know, when people start saying things about like conspiracy theories, you know, I come from a Christian background, and, you know, even I've seen people like Christians saying that, oh, this is like come from God or something like that, and we don't know where it's come from. All we know is it's kind of, like you said, mutated in like, you know, China, and it's kind of just spread across the whole world, and it's just collapsed everything. And, you know, it's just crazy how people can't, and like people just want to scare people.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, no matter what we believe and the truths we believe, there's still we need to react to it, which is the most important thing, rather than carry on trying to talk about, you know, all the ins and outs of how did this happen and stuff. I think the thing that we do have some level of control in is how we behave in response to all of this. Joel, what would you ask the magic mirror if you could ask any questions about what the future looks like after this?
When's it going to end?
Yeah, good question. Will it ever end? Are we stuck in a cycle of
I won't be able to
pandemics?
See my boyfriend. I won't be able to go on trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really thought about like what I'd ask. I guess like my thing is that I think what people should realize is that who their close friends are as well, and like maybe check in on people after this has happened, because no matter what everyone's going through something different. You know, before all this, we were all going through different lives, and we were all experiencing different things, and you know, our mental health was going through different ways and different feelings, and how we've been feeling in general. And then maybe, you know, your friend might say, "Oh, how are you feeling today?" Like that's quite a big thing. But nowadays, it's like, yeah, no, there's like literally nothing else you can do but talk to people, because you know you can't go out anywhere, you can't, and like everyone is in the same boat. So maybe this will help people to come together more frequently, and maybe, you know, realize that, you know, if you don't see someone all the time before all this has happened, and now you can't see them physically at all, maybe you should try and go and see them more often, and make an effort to be able to be friends with that person that you have been friends with for like months.
Yeah, and I think that's so true, man. I think like it's almost like this time in a way showing us things that we've taken for granted. And I think this goes back to what Jesse was saying about like this is a time where we can decide to come out of this more united. And I feel exactly that. Like I've been reaching out to old friends I haven't spoken to in years, mainly because I'm like, even though we're experiencing this in different ways, we're all in it together. Like this is the first time as a planet. And I've said this before in one of the streams. It's like, I always thought the thing that would unite humanity would be like an alien invasion. And then we'd all have a common enemy. And in a way, this is an alien invasion. Like we've all got a common enemy. We're all trying to band together to figure out, okay, how do we as a globe combat this? And I think although it's very destructive in a lot of ways, I really have a hope that this can bring humanity together in a new way that it's never experienced before. Because people do bond and connect when there's some common theme or enemy or whatever to feel like we're against.
You know, I've had experiences in the past with people that are like either been my friend or like chose to leave me and stuff, and like that's been really difficult. You know, and like, but now more than ever, I'm like, okay, who are my true friends? Who do I want to keep in my life? And like, who do I want to like keep in touch with?
Yeah, it's true, man. Right, shall we, if there's anyone else that wants to answer the mirror question, they can.
Okay.
Yeah, Letitia,
so I'll go quickly because my phone is dying. So I want to check in. I guess kind of piggyback writing on what you guys were saying, I would ask like, what are social interactions going to look like? You know, because we have those people who are a little bit, you know, they have their guard up now. You know, are we still going to be embracing each other? Are we going to still, you know, give a friendly handshake? You know, what is it really going to look like? And then as far as like, for me personally, like what's education going to look like? Like, are we going to be doing a lot more of this distance stuff, or are we going to go back to norm, like go back to school and go back to interacting with children? I'm like, I hug my students every single day. So it's kind of like, what is this all going to look like when it's over, when it's all said and done? So
yeah, and I was thinking the same in terms of physical contact. Like, are we going to be? It might be that for the first, you know, few months or after this, like we're going to slowly be wondering, okay, like, can we go back to how things were in terms of like hugging people and greeting our friends? And like even last night we've been pretty locked down in this house, but we've been also interacting with other friends that we know have been in quarantine and haven't been out. So we had a friend come over last night that she hasn't left her house in a month, and she was really, really low. and she came out, and we were like, look, you haven't left your house in a month. I'm pretty sure you're fine. And then she came over. I was like, are you hugging? Like, can we hug? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. But then other times I've been like, no, I don't think hugging's a good idea. So I relate to you. It's just like, especially here, like in Venice where I live, like everyone hugs. It's just
everyone's
like,
a hugger. Like
everyone's a hugger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Let's move on to, I have another question as a follow-up. Is like, out of these future possibilities that we're imagining or asking questions about, again, going back to that first question, which of those things do you think are in our control? So I guess like we just touched on the whole unity thing, we have some level of control. Yeah, so I'd love to, I think we just lost Anthony, but yeah, I'd love to hear if there's any things that you can identify as like, yeah, this is something we could decide rather than we're just sitting back and waiting to see what happens. Any thoughts?
I think we need to maintain that general appreciation towards medical staff and everybody that's helped us through the difficult times, because it's easy enough to appreciate those during the happy times, but then it's also important to appreciate those after something like this has happened. And I think it'll be important that we all stick together and make sure that we're all okay and living life to the fullest.
Yeah, totally. Any thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, all of this stuff is good stuff, isn't it? As we're reflecting, it's such a mix, isn't it, of emotion. As I was saying earlier, there is excitement, and what I meant by that was that there's sort of the excitement of the possibilities of entering into a new normal. That there's so much creativity that's sort of spiraling out of this and sparking out of this. At the same time, holding that intention with, you know, the life-changing, you know, bereavement in some cases, and you know, all the rest that goes with that. But I think something that's just been striking me as I've been listening is about the how are we going to it's just interesting. I'm feeling like our local community right here is being united. Just, you know, just tonight we were clapping at 8 o'clock for the NHS. You know, we're waving each other across the street. So I'm just wondering, how is this situation going to unite us locally, but also globally? You're talking about how it's uniting us globally, but I think there's going to be, you know, I wonder whether we have an opportunity to enter into a local engagement that we may not have been able to had it not happened, had this not happened. So yeah, something I was thinking about.
Yeah, so true. Tim, what about you? What do you think we have control over, or what would you, I don't know if you asked the question to the mirror.
Yeah, to the mirror, I was gonna say, how quickly are people and businesses going to bounce back from this? I know that there's a lot of people that have temporarily lost jobs, but there's a lot of people that have permanently lost jobs, and businesses that are permanently going to be gone. And I just, yeah, I would want to know how quickly, if at all, I mean, of course at some point, but yeah, how quickly are people going to be able to get back on their feet and live life normally, even if it's not the virus that's causing it, if it's like insufficient income, if they're not able to get a job right away after this, how's that going to affect them and their families and the economy as a whole? It's just stuff like that. I want to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah, and I think it's so true, man, because like although I'm lucky enough and privileged enough to not be, you know, as disastrously affected right now with all of this. I've got some money, I've got some savings, I've got friends around me that we're quarantined together. I'm very aware, and especially from some of the stuff I'm reading, if you can trust the media. I mean, I know Oxfam did a study that came out a few days ago saying potentially 500 million people will be pushed into poverty over this crisis. And then I just read on Twitter, again, it's not verified, but it seems pretty legit, that 22 million people in the US have filed for unemployment since it started. So with those kind of astronomical numbers, it makes me wonder, like, although I'm not being directly impacted, I feel this very strong desire to support and help the people that are being impacted, because in a world where we have this disparity in kind of living conditions and wealth and poverty and everything, you know, going back to the whole unity thing, are we going to come out of this feeling more responsible to support one another, whether it's in our local community, which I've seen happen, and a few of you mentioned, like, you see like your local community rallying together more. Like, can we do that as a global community? Can we firstly rally, you know, around our local community, and then can we find ways to support people globally? And I do see a lot of people that have got the privilege to be, you know, surviving okay right now, wanting to really help and find ways to help, and who can I donate to, who can I support, what can I do? And yeah, and even in the UK, it's really cool to hear, like, even the simple act of going outside and applauding the NHS. I think that's really giving those workers that are on the front lines, like, the morale and support, in some level of support, or to know the country's behind them. So that's really cool to hear, and I'd love to just figure out ways together as a community that we can be supporting those in real need right now. I'd love to hear from you, Phoebe, your thoughts on all of this.
I had an initial thought on the mirror thing. My initial thought was, I'd like to ask whether, now that we've proven that as a collective global world we can deal with the problem, or we can come together, are we going to use that power to come together on climate change, or do anything to do with the environment? Because so many things have been proved. Like, now we can see that if we stop our movements so much, pollution goes radically down. If we reduce our movements, then more animals come out and our carbon footprint can be lowered. You know, it's possible that we can lower it, and it's possible that we can do these things for the world. Like, in the mirror, are we going to be able to take that seriously now? Because we know that if something serious happens, we can take things seriously and we can all work together. And can we use that same unity, I guess, that I think we are having to some degree? You know, like, countries are working together and sharing information, and we have global organizations all working together. Are we going to use that to fight what potentially is our next battle, or what before the whole thing came around was kind of the biggest battle, or the biggest thing we were speaking about?
Yeah, I so agree with that. I think, like, the potential to reimagine how we interact with the planet moving forward is really exciting to me.
It's so obvious, you know, you see all the pictures, and it's like, it is physically possible for us to stop that. You know, our normal before doesn't need to be our normal again.
About a new normal thing that I'd like to see in the new mirror, or the mirror, is
yeah,
we went to the park with one of the roommates. Yes, it's been super sunny in California, and well, we went to the park in social distance of grass, and you had all these people, like families, and with a lot of distance again between people. But I just remember thinking, it's Wednesday, it's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and really enjoying the moment. So I'm hoping that I'm wondering, like, keep on enjoying those moments that we have. Like, it's really beautiful. I'm going to take my kid outside and go run with the dog in the park. So that was really interesting to watch people be disconnected from the concept of time, of like, it's Wednesday at 2 and I should be doing something. Because
yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that all comes back to, like, how will industry look after this? How will jobs look? Are people just going to go back to a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or are there other ways are there things we can adopt even for Latin countries? It's like this siesta that happens in the, you know, when I visit countries from around the world, there's like different ways of doing things. And I just wonder whether, you know, is there a way to take some of the positives that we've got to experience from into our future? And that goes back to, like, having the control to do that. Like, I know a lot of people might not have that ability to in the future. I mean, just really depending on how things pan out. But, like, I do feel like time off during the week, but who knows? Like, maybe maybe we can redesign a society where people get all that they need, earn a good income. It's really fascinating to me what's happening around the world right now with, like, a universal basic income being and I'm like, and I know some countries do that and have been doing that already, but I wonder whether there's a way of that not just being temporary, or whether there's a way to have a level of that where it does give people the freedom to not just be stuck in this rat race, and they do get a chance to be more creative. I've noticed a lot more creativity online from friends making music a lot more, or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of people being turning to their creative outlets to cope right now, but it also brings a lot more beauty into the world, because as people are exercising that creativity and putting things out there, I think it's enhancing the whole of humanity, you know. And just to bounce off the back of that, I went to Cuba a few years back, and there was something that I found really beautiful. They despite some of the issues with communist countries, they had a universal basic income, they had houses supplied for them and food, and then every night at whatever time their work ended, like 5, no one would be like staying after work to like hustle and, you know, do business. It was like everyone would just go out, and there'd be music every night on the streets, like people playing, you know, there'd be like art galleries with people painting, and there was something really beautiful. Again, I'm not, you know, I don't know about all the other elements of it, but this element of it struck me as like, oh, this is something that I really love, is that people aren't trying to hustle and work till midnight trying to hit deadlines, but they're just ending their work and then having freedom in the evenings to be creative and follow that. So I wonder whether, as people dive into more of their creativity over this time, whether that would be something we can carry into the future and have control over. Yeah. Any other thoughts people feeling about like how much control we have right now over some of these futures? Yeah, Joel.
I wanted to touch on something that Liam was saying about, like, you know, how like here in the like in the UK we've been like trying to like thank the NHS and stuff like that, and you know, I've got a lot of things to thank the NHS for, and stuff like that, and maybe we should continue to try and support our own health service. And I don't know, it's been a big political thing here in the UK. Like, you know, when we had our election last year, there was like fighting between each party of like trying to like go, oh, we're the party of the NHS. And, you know, yeah, we have our private system as well, but all the focus on at the moment has been the NHS, because that's our way of getting free healthcare. And, you know, imagine if we were living in a society where we were able to, or we weren't able to go and just get that free healthcare from from somewhere like the NHS, and we should be always thankful for that. And that's kind of one thing I think we should continue to do in the future. Like, if and when this ends, like, just keep that clapping thing going. I think would be quite fun, and it will bring our communities together, I think, as well.
Yeah, I'm living in America, and I can tell you, man, like the NHS is incredible. I feel so bad for Americans and their messed up healthcare system. I just don't understand it at all. So
I mean, like, I saved my life like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. No,
like,
I feel like hopefully this could shift people's opinions and understanding of why it's so important to have free healthcare. But yeah, no, it's good to hear how grateful you are, Joel.
Okay. I think I don't think it should be taken away from us, because it's something that we should be proud of, and it's something that we shouldn't be just throwing away just because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the beauty of it.
I want to I think we've had someone else join the call. Is this Doriti man? Are you there?
Oh. Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Where are you calling from?
I'm from Ukraine. I live in Ukraine, but I'm from India.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks for joining the call.
And nice to meet you, bro.
How are you feeling right now? What's it like in the Ukraine?
In Ukraine, it's been, I guess, 1 month since 12th of March. it's been lockdown is imposed here.
Yeah.
No, situation is not that bad here, but things are worse. Like not like earlier, you know.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
We are stuck in our hostel. Like we can only go out for supermarket and stuff, but our colleges and universities all are closed.
Wow. So are you studying in the Ukraine? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, I'm studying here. I'm studying medicine here.
Wow. And have you been able to cope okay? Like since this started, are you coping okay? Have you got friends around you?
Yeah. We are coping. We are doing well. Yeah.
That's good to hear, man. We had a question. I don't know if you heard, if you were watching the live stream, but we were saying like, what if you had a magic mirror that could see into the future after this situation ends? What would you ask the mirror about the future?
No, I just want, how will this end? Like, I just want to know, like, if I just want like the solidarity in this world.
Yeah.
So let's all stay together, you know. Don't make any problems. That's all I want to ask.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, I think that's been the similar thing we've been talking about, is like unity, coming out of this with unity. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
The virus is like, you know, breaking us apart. So we need to stay together. Like, the virus is our enemy. So let's see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How's your family in India?
My family, like in India, situation is like getting worse. Like it's bad, like worse than Ukraine. But I'm talking to my family like oftenly. The cases are increasing there, but I trust my health system there. Let's see. But I hope for all good, you know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, man.
Thank you, man.
Well, we probably will wrap up the call in a minute. I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys and anyone watching on the live stream as well, just about this concept of like what is going to happen, what's the world going to look like, and then more importantly, how do we have any level of control right now? And maybe we have to partly, I think, who is it? Jesse is gone now, but he was talking about surrendering. And I think partly it's surrendering to the fact that we don't have a lot of control. But I think moving forward, there are some things that we can control in terms of how we redesign the future moving forward. So I think this is going to be an ongoing conversation around the new normal and what does the future look like, and we could tackle like specific topics. I thought today it'd be really cool just to get an overview of like all the things, and we touched a bit about healthcare systems and how does people's work, you know, what does the work look like, or our relationship with the planet, and schooling and all sorts of stuff. But I think it'd be really cool to dive in a bit deeper. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and like line up some experts in some of these different fields and see if we can do some cool like interviews with them, grab some questions from you guys, get them to jump on the live streams. And I'm really excited to be supporting and facilitating this ongoing conversation. And I'm really glad that you guys are all contributing and involved as well. So I think we'll probably end it there. And I just want to thank you for being involved. If you want to keep up to date, we've got a Telegram group, which let me see if I can share it. I'll post it somewhere. We'll post it in the Sophia, can you find the Telegram group link? I just want to paste it in the chat here for anyone that's not part of it.
Yep, looking for it now.
But yeah, I'm going to end the live stream now, end the meeting, and we'll probably do this next week at a similar time. The other big news is next week we are getting involved with this Earth Day live stream. So on the 22nd of April, it's Earth Day, and we've teamed up with the youth climate activist groups, and we're helping contribute to some content to their, like, they're doing like a 72-hour live stream with like different celebrities and influencers and youth activists, like talking exactly around what you were saying, Phoebe, about like how can we take lessons we're learning during this time and apply it to like how we move forward with the planet and being activists with climate change and stuff. So that's going to be really exciting to be a part of. And like I said, there'll be a lot more conversation around that. But yeah, it's been good chatting, and we'll see you next week. See you later, guys.
Thanks so much, Louis.
Thanks, Louis.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks.